Hello, in this video I'm going to analyze this beautiful 1950s coat, work out exactly how this overlay is made and how you can draft your own and even adapt it to suit you, all from a swing coat sewing pattern. If you love the idea of design and drafting your own clothes, please have a look in the description on how you can learn to do exactly that with me. And let's have a look at this beautiful coat. So this tapir collar starts with a stand collar, then it's got a very sort of straightforward back. We got our shoulder, we got our armhole like this, and then the oval shape is a typical sort of swing shape, which what's of mid-century is what you think of a proper winter coat. The front, I think, often if there's a big detail at the back, the front probably will be relatively straightforward, and it looks like it's sort of got a basically an oversized stand collar which can be worn open, so she's actually wearing it open, but the collar itself probably when it's closed looks like that. Like this, and then it looks like it's got like a nice, it's like a two-part sleeve like this, and it looks like the cuff has quite a nice which I haven't got really space to draw, and the cuff looks like it's got a nice sort of slit there as well and volume, and I would imagine the front might have pockets somewhere. Quite often they have, like with a swing coat, they always have pockets like that. I would love to see the front. If any of you have seen it or find it in Pinterest, do let me know, because I couldn't spot it, because that'd be really interesting. So what's really interesting about the back is that we have this sort of amazing overlay. It looks what you normally on a trench coat you've got, you know, like a sort of classic, what you see in English, like a Burberry or aquascutum. You quite often have this sort of flap at the back, and when you have a button in the center, probably all seen them. So instead of having a yoke, you sort of have an extra layer here, which I imagine originally was for extra rain protection. But they've turned it into like an amazing detail. Again, it looks really complicated, but what it is, a nice color, is that if you wanted to do your own, you would trace over your back part and basically trace out the lines you want, and you might do that, we might draw on these lines on the actual trowel if you're having one, because you sort of want, this one has to sort of hit around the maybe the upper hip line, and what I'm not quite sure is whether there's actually a side seam, because what it looks a little bit where it goes down, that could be a pocket. In this case, this actually might sort of be more like this, and then it might go to the front like this, then go towards the back again like this, and become a pocket, and then go like this. So your pocket is actually like this, which is a very odd drawing. So from the back, if we draw the coat from the back, what I think, it might be a single piece coat. It's actually, it has got, from the drawing, it looks like it's got a center back seam. If you look at the illustration, it looks like we've drawn a line at the center back. But if this is your side seam, we basically have this sort of cape at the back, which then goes past with your side seam, becomes your pocket, and then goes like this again. So you could just literally just draw it on your pattern, and you just have to make sure you've got a pattern which has got a straight side seam, so you can lay them together. And then what you would basically have is your front bodice would look like this and then your back bodice would look probably, I think it would come forward just trying, and then it would probably form the pocket flap and then go back again like this. So again, it looks really complicated, but all you're doing is, if you have your original front pattern like this, and then you have your original back pattern like this, you draw it on. We've got very small drawings, I apologize, and then you literally just trace over the 2 lines you want to establish. So that would be your front, and then your back. Again, you will have the same here, and then you probably have your stitch line here, and then it probably forms the pocket bag as well, and then probably goes up from there and gets stitched to the lining. But you can see it's actually, again, it is something which looks really complicated, but you actually just start with your basic coat and then you just lay it on top. And then again, this would be a fully lined coat, so the sort of seam where the back is, that probably would attach to the lining here, and then have another lining at the back. So you can see how they're very clever with how they replacing our basic seams with other stuff. But the method behind this is actually just laying your pattern pieces together and then drawing on your new lines. And then what is just clever is that, of course, it becomes separate. So it's only stitched together. I think it's stitched together here. Let's do it in another color. So it's stitched together again here with the top stitching, and then it is properly sort of attached through our pocket bag here, but then everything else is sort of just separate, so it looks really luxurious, but is again just using like your cape from the back and extending it into a bigger pattern piece. So sort of pushing classic pattern cutting methods to its limits, and then again adding the top stitching. And then of course what you can do as well, because it looks like it got quite a lot of volume there, so if you wanted to, you could add a few sort of cut and slash lines here and add a bit of extra volume to the bottom edge. So you spread it out, and that's what gives it that sort of beautiful drapey effect. And if that sounds too complicated, how about you just make a really simple coat, but then instead of having our normal trench coat, you could just have it with volume, or you could have it shaped. So you could just pick the volumes you want, or you could just have a coat with a really nice pocket bag like that in the side seam. So all you could just decide is basically sort of move your side seam a bit around. Rather than having a straight side seam, you have a little bit of a zigzag side seam, but keep the rest as a classic coat. So you can see there's lots of design opportunities for it, whether you want the full-on statement coat or whether you just want to pick out 1 or 2. Thank you so much for joining me for this analysis. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you think of this coat? Would you make it? Did I get it right? How would you adapt it to suit yourself? But for now, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.